So, I wanted to talk Martha Meeks. Now, the last time we saw Martha, who is Randy's sister, for those that don't know, the last time we saw Martha was in Scream 3. And it was when she showed up at the studio and showed the last Randy tape that kind of gave, Dewey, Gail, and Sid sort of insight to help prepare themselves for what was to come in that film. And Martha Meeks will be returning in Scream 5. So I wanted to discuss various theories, ideas, and kind of have a discussion with you all on Martha Meeks and what you expect her as far as a character in this upcoming Scream 5 film. So Martha Meeks, as we know, will be sort of the native to Woodsboro, and I'm sure she will have some ties and perhaps a direct part in this film. We know that the goal is to sort of stay away from the OGs from what they have said, so why introduce or reintroduce Martha into this franchise other than to give her some significance? Now, that significance doesn't mean that it'll be the entire duration of the film, or, it could be a small part. So, one idea would be perhaps the opening, maybe not the direct opening kill scene, because most likely that's usually some sort of throwaway character or, something iconic. It'll be something that is super memorable that sort of sets the tone for the rest of the film. Hence the Drew Barrymore in Scream 1. It was iconic. Everybody saw Drew Barrymore, thought, oh my god, like, she's this big star that just got butchered in the first 10 minutes of the film, and it sort of sets the tone. So I would suspect that would happen, or perhaps she will be the opening kill. Perhaps she is giving a phone call or doing something in regards to sort of setting the tone of the film, setting the build-up, and she is taken out as like a Cotton Weary type thing. Where Cotton, you see him in the opening credits of Scream 3, he's this big iconic character through all the other films, and then bam, he meets his end. So that is one possibility as far as Martha Meeks. And another reason why I think that would make sense, it's been speculated and rumored that Sydney will be sort of in hiding again, which would make sense that she would sort of return back into, isolation, because she tried to reacclimate herself into society, into Woodsboro, and we saw what the outcome with that was. So it would make sense that maybe not hiding in the sense of what she was in Scream 3, but I would assume probably to some degree. Again, speculation, we won't know for sure until the film actually comes out, but Martha Meeks meeting her end would be big enough news to draw Sydney out. Now, we've done theory videos on this channel, had discussions about, everyone from Dewey to Gail to anybody you can name being the opening kill that would sort of draw out Sydney. So Martha would sort of fit that criteria, because Sydney isn't going to come out just because there's a murder in Woodsboro. She probably, it might shock her, it might bother her, it might, surprise her, but it's not going to be the sort of catalyst to get her out in the open. But if it's Randy's sister, that's a pretty big deal to her. It's somebody that she cares for and loves and, connected with in Scream 3. So that would be somebody that would really affect her in a lot of ways to draw her out, get her back into Woodsboro, to sort of try to get to her. The other possibility that I sort of have thought about is if one of the main teens in this film, is perhaps her son. and there's some tie in some way to that. Perhaps she is the mother, and maybe not a sort of direct part in the film, but more of an indirect, like she's just in various scenes. Maybe she meets her demise at some point in the film, but she is solely in the film just as the mother and as a familiar face in a nice little cameo. That is another option. Although when it comes to that, I would assume if they were going to have a familiar face like Martha in this film, that she would play not necessarily a big part, but to some degree have some ample screen time and not just be sort of a throwaway, which I would like to see. It'd be fun to sort of get to know Martha, the other side to Randy. You know, she seemed, from what we got in Scream 3, a little awkward, a little quiet, you know, a little nerdy like Randy was. So it'd be cool to kind of get more in-depth in her character as well. And I feel if that was the case, then just having her as like the mother that knows Sydney and everybody wouldn't really do Martha justice. So the sort of last point and idea that I kind of wanted to talk about when it comes to Martha is perhaps her having a significant part and maybe helping to solve the case in some way. Maybe she has an important role in Woodsboro. Perhaps, you know, she's working for the investigation department or something, and it'd be nice to see her added to the dynamic of Gail and Sid and Dewey, and maybe she has a major part as far as, you know, helping solve this case. You know, if she does have a kid in Woodsboro, that could even tie into what is going on. She's working with Sid, she's working with everybody, and sort of build that character, build that dynamic. Because I think having Martha in this film tells me, personally, that she's going to have some role that of significance. And that role of significance could be her demise early on or mid-film. That doesn't mean that she can't meet her demise in this film. It just means that I feel if you're going to bring back a character such as Randy's sister, you have to have her tie in some way. Plus, there's all the rumors about flashback scenes, and that this film is supposed to be sort of a homage to the original franchise. So I just feel like all the points are being made and being hit and pointing towards Martha being in this film because she's going to have some significance, whether that be, you know, helping solve the case, maybe taking out the killer with the others, maybe she meets again her demise in the end. I just feel that all in all, when it comes to Martha, I think I personally want to see character development with her. I want to see her grow and us get to know her. And because it's really our last line to an iconic character in Randy. And it would even be really nice to see Randy in this film to some degree. You know, whether it's a video or some photos or a flashback, maybe Martha is talking to, you know, Sydney and they're reminiscing about Randy, and all of a sudden you get a sort of almost fantasy sequence or dream sequence of Martha and Randy. Like, I think that would be really cool. I'm sure that they have some footage. Not just that, but with technology today, I mean, they could de-age them or do whatever they need to sort of fit the time frame in which Randy met his demise. I just think when you're incorporating somebody like Randy's sister, somebody that we grew up with, that people were really upset about being offed in Scream 2, and then having her be a part of Scream 3 so they could plug in Randy, because that's what the reasoning was because people were so upset that Randy died that they were like, we can't bring him back, so how can we incorporate him into this film? So what did they do? They had the videotape and all that jazz, and Martha was the one to present it, and that's how they kind of tied Randy into Scream 3. I could see something similar with that. I just think that it would sort of take away from having Martha and it being announced and us being aware as a fandom. I feel like her just having a minimal role here and there randomly, what would be the point? I mean, I get nostalgia, but she's not an iconic character. She's not a super known character. There are people that could probably watch Scream 5 and not even make the connection until somebody says, like, oh, that's Randy's sister, or I'm Randy's sister, and then people will be like, oh, because she wasn't such a huge monumental character in the Scream franchise. She was just sort of thrown in a lot of ways. Yes, she had a significant part in that throw-in, but even that, I feel, it fit Scream 3 perfectly. But I'd like to see more as far as Scream 5. I'd love to see some sort of interaction and dynamic with Martha and Sydney, because they have that connection, which is Randy. And I think it would be a really cool thing to see unfold on the screen, whether she meets her demise or not. I think that'd be really awesome. But as always, this is a discussion, and I'd love to hear from you. So join it down in the comments. Let me know what you think about Martha. What do you think her character will be in Scream 5? Do you think she will be a throwaway character or just sort of, a minimal part? Do you think she will be of significance? Do you think that she will meet her end at some point in the film? Or do you think she'll live till the very end? Do you think that she will have a kid in Woodsboro, one of the main characters that are newer to the franchise, perhaps be her kid? Answer all those questions for me down in the comments. Don't forget to like this video. It helps me out a lot. Lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.